Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to episode 21 of the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello and welcome. This is a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I would like to knit on in the not too distant future. And we have, what do we usually have? We usually have some finished objects and some works in progress and some yarny acquisitions. And I have all of those things. But before I jump into the usual broadcasting, there are more than 10,000 subscribers here. So a huge hi and thank you if you're subscribed. I can't quite believe it. I remember being really excited about the first 5 and then about the first 100, and we did a giveaway for the first 1,000, and I can't believe there are 10,000 people subscribed. It doesn't seem like that. Like in my head I'm like, oh yeah, it's 10k, and then I think about 10,000 people like sitting in one room watching an episode, which of course doesn't happen, but like that's how my brain puts it into perspective, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people. So if you're here, thank you very much. It's really cool. I really appreciate it. I feel like it's a lot of enabling. Like the more I podcast, the more I knit, and then the more I knit, the more I have to talk about the podcast. And it's a never-ending cycle where I'm not quite finding the upper limits of how much I can knit, but I think I'm scratching the top of that because I'm knitting a lot right now. But I thought I would do a little, potentially like a bit more of an extended intro, or just like a little reintroduction, because it's been a while since I did any form of intro other than hi, I'm Rebecca. So if you've been here since the start, you're no doubt sick of hearing this, but if you're new, my name is Rebecca. I am currently in Edinburgh. I've lived here for 8 months, and I did grow up just down the coast from here, in East Lothian, and I studied in Edinburgh a few years ago. I studied here, and then when I graduated from university, I moved to the Netherlands for 3 years. Hence the channel name. Creabea is a Dutch term for a crafty lady. Hi, I'm a crafty lady. And at one point I was fluent in Dutch. It's been a while, so I can definitely still understand and read Dutch, but my Dutch conversation might not be quite up to scratch. And then I moved from the Netherlands back to the UK, and I lived in London for 3 years. I used to work in I worked for a student NGO for a couple of years, and I now work in tech. I am a product manager, and I work remotely, so I get to work from home, which really just means more time to knit. Like I'm never that far from my stash, so all that commuting time that I've saved is really just knitting time. So yeah, I live in Edinburgh with my boyfriend Sam, and I've been knitting for like 2 and a bit years. I remember, so like my clearest memory of my most, like the last time I can remember, I'm quite like, I go through phases with crafting. I think a lot of us get this, right? So like, especially when I was younger, I'd be like really into this for a while and then really into that for a while. And I think I'd gone through some knitting phases, but I remember distinctly never understanding gauge, because I made some headbands. I made some colourwork headbands, which looked amazing, but they were way too big for my head. Like they just fell down to my neck, but obviously because I used the wrong, I now know I'm a very loose knitter. And so yeah, I had done some knitting before, but a couple of years ago, actually for Christmas 2021, my aunt, who's a knitter, gave me a book on sock knitting and a set of DPNs. I was gonna just like reach out and grab one. I do still have them, I just don't know where they are. And I cast on a pair of socks, and I remember like this distinctly. I took one of the socks with me when COVID broke out. I remember March of 2020, I was, with my previous job, flying to Colombia for a conference. The conference was cancelled, but when I landed in Colombia, they had announced it was a global pandemic, and 4 days later I was on a plane back to the UK. But on that flight, I knit like most of a sock. It's like a 7-hour flight each way, I think. And I remember watching an episode of The Grocery Girls on, like I downloaded some and watched them on that flight. And so that is kind of, I feel like when that's a core memory of when I properly was into the knitting community and like engaged. And since then my obsession has only grown. My obsession has grown, my yarn stash has grown, the number of sweaters I have has grown, and now I knit a lot. What else? Is that everything? Is there anything else about me? I knit. That's it. Hi. I also sew. I sew a lot of my own clothes. Sewing is, I really enjoy sewing. I really enjoy buying fabric, if I'm being honest, and I quite like sewing. And I like the finished, like sewing as a product craft for me. Like I love the fabric and I love the end piece. And I don't mind the bit in the middle, but I'm a bit lazy. And sitting down to sew actually takes a bit of brain power, whereas sitting down to knit is really easy. So I definitely usually pick knitting over sewing, but I do most of my wardrobe with the exception of like jeans and t-shirts is me made. And is that everything about me? I think so. Yeah, that's about it. I must have missed something. Like there's more to my introduction than this, but that's the most important parts. I feel like I'm leaving out something really obvious and I'm running through it. I don't think so. Anyway, yeah, the podcast I started in October 2021, so like last October. I checked recently because I feel like a lot of podcasters have got their like podiversary, but I've not got mine for another few months, so it'll come. But I checked recently because I thought, when did I start? And the first few episodes are filmed when I was still living in London, and since then they've been filmed here in Edinburgh, and it's been amazing. Honestly, I just feel like such part of a community. I do think like there's, to a certain extent, the more followers you have, the more people like reach out to you because there are just more people on your platform. So I can post things and I'll get like immediate responses from people, and so there is like much higher volume of engagement with people in the community. But I just absolutely love it. Like I just feel like I'm really part of something virtual, like an element of it's virtual because a lot of people that I talk to online I never met before, but some of it's physical. I'll talk at the end. Like I met some of the knitters recently, and I go to a knit night every Monday, and like there are yarn festivals to go to, and those are just things which I just didn't have really this time last year. Like I felt like I was observing from the sidelines, and now I feel like I'm really part of it, and that's been amazing. I really enjoy it, and it's nice to find other people who are equally as obsessed with knitting as I am, because if I didn't have those people, I probably would have ruined all my friendships and relationships by now talking about knitting. There will be a giveaway for 10,000 subscribers, but I'm going to do it next episode because I'm just not organised. If you could see the chaos that's in front of me, everything's a bit messy at the minute. Like my fabric is everywhere, my yarn is everywhere, and I need to go through and have a proper sort out of some stuff. And it means my brain is very messy at the moment. So I'm planning this weekend actually to, when you just let things slide, I've let things slide. So I'm gonna go through my yarn, sort some stuff out. I think I have a couple of special skeins that I'd like to do a giveaway of, and then maybe something else I'd like to do a giveaway of, but I'll think about it all and we'll talk about it next episode. So for now, it's regular scheduled programming. It's the norm. It's a normal episode. And next episode, I'll do a giveaway. Okay, 10 minutes of preamble. I know what you're all here for. You're all here for the knitting. So let me jump into the knitting, and I can start with what I'm wearing because it's also a finished object. Ta-da! Okay, so this is a knitted t-shirt. It is loosely based on the No Frills sweater by PetiteKnit, but I've changed quite a lot about it. So the gauge, I think the finished gauge is 16 stitches per 10 centimeters. What I did do is I cast on for the smallest size in the pattern, which I believe is 108 stitches, and I knit the short rows in the pattern, which is like four sets of German short rows, and then I just knit until it fit. So at that point I was basically making sure that the raglan depth was okay and that it fit over my bust, and I don't know if I got lucky, but it all worked pretty well. And then I just split for sleeves and knit the body, and then I just honestly the sleeves are tiny. Like it was maybe 4 rows, no, it was like 6 rows and then 6 rows of ribbing, and there are 8 rows of ribbing here, and that was it. And it's amazing. I will say I've worn this like 4 times this week, and it has definitely like, it's bagged out a little bit. Like I think it's already kind of maybe needing washed, because I do feel like the neckline has, like when I first put this on, the neckline was sitting like here, and now it's quite wide. And like this, it's all feeling a bit loosey-goosey. It's still super comfortable, but I probably should have saved it and worn it today for the first time, because it's maybe not looking quite its best. It's cropped. I'm not going to stand up and show you because I've just realised that I have food on it, which is disgusting. Well, it's just a little bit. Anyway, I'm not going to show it, but I'll put a picture here of what it looks like finished. I infused... What did I use? Drops Belle. I'm sure I had some right here in front of me and it's gone. I used Drops Belle, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, which is a linen viscose cotton mix. Oh, I'm really annoyed. I had some. I don't know where it's gone. It was stunning. I bought it in the drop sale on Wool Warehouse had a drop sale. They're still having it. I keep buying yarn. They're still having a sale, but they had a sale and this was in the sale, and I got 9 balls of this, and I also got 9 balls of it in light blue. I did not need 9 balls. This used 230 grams of yarn, and I think it's like 160 meters per 50 grams. That's solid DK weight. So yeah, I will definitely be making another one. I've got some Rowan Summerlite DK, which I will be, I think a black version of this would be super wearable and I'd get a lot of use out of it. That's on the go, but I only have 4 balls. I think I need 5. So I should have actually, I put an order in this week. I should have just added an extra ball of Rowan DK and I forgot. But hey, I'll be buying more yarn at some point, so that's fine. I find it super wearable. It's really comfortable. It's very light. I wear t-shirts a lot, so I feel like I can just throw this on like any other t-shirt, but it feels a little bit fancy. This colour is the almond rose colour, and it's kind of like a dusty pink, and I really like it. It washed and blocked beautifully. Yeah, nothing else to say apart from this is amazing. I have discussed my woes around summer knits in that I find them all a bit fussy. Not all. I find the vast majority of summer knits a bit fussy, and I just want simple stuff, and this is pretty much exactly what I want. Simple t-shirt, nice fabric, shows it all off. We'll probably just make 10 more of these every summer for the foreseeable future. It took no time to knit. I got the yoke done in like 2 days. I was really into it. Like I was really enjoying the yoke, and it took me no time at all. And then the body, like I joked on Instagram that the body knit itself, but honestly, it really did. I feel like stocking it in the round, I just pick it up. It's not like if I've got a meeting, I'll just pick it up and do a couple of rows here and there, or for watching a movie, or did I take it to the cinema? Maybe I took it to the cinema one day, and I just find that it was just done. Like I was just like, oh, there's a body, and then the sleeves between them took an hour, I think, because it was literally just 6 pick up, 6 rounds, ribbing, cast off, done. Super fast. I might knit more short sleeve things now because it takes no time at all. Short sleeves just save like half the knitting time. So yeah, that is my pattern. I'm really behind on updating Ravelry. I usually go in and update Ravelry like en masse, and I import my pictures from Instagram, and then I type up all my notes, and then I type up all my notes. I put in how much yarn I used, and I put in my needle size. I've not done that, and I'm gonna regret it because, for example, like I finished my lentil sweater and I showed it months ago, and it's not on Ravelry, and I don't know what needle size I used. So I'm gonna have to maybe go back and like watch my own videos, or I don't know what I'm gonna do, but to know what to make it next time. Anyway, that's my own fault. But what I will try and do is, somebody messaged me asking if I have a pattern for this. I don't, but I will just put the notes on what I did for the no frills because it was super easy. And I think it would equally apply for the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Maid, which is also on my to knit list. And that's already like a 17 stitch gauge, I think. And it's already short sleeved. So honestly, you probably could just knit that and get the same thing. Perfect. That's what I'm wearing. I've got another finished object. And it's an exciting one. I'm actually just gonna give my screen a quick clean. I don't know if that made any difference, but I could see my own thumbprint over the camera, and maybe this is clearer, I don't know. Okay, she's done. Da 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 da. It's my Cargill. It's all finished. I mean, I'm 2 weeks into the test knit, so it really should be finished, but it's done. And I will pop some pictures in because my testers asked for some pictures of what this looks like on. So after I film this, I'm gonna put this on and take a couple of pictures and send it to my testers. It's quite warm outside, and so I thought I would film first because there's no doubt that I will end up very red-faced and a bit sticky and sweaty after putting this on and taking some pictures. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, I got those hiccups again. This is the Cargill sweater. It is designed by me. It's my very first knitting design. Earlier this year, in fact, as a goal this year, I wanted to like produce a knitting pattern out of like curiosity. Like I wanted to know like what goes into it, how much work is involved, what's the process, what's it like. I have been very vocal about size inclusivity in patterns, and I wanted to know like what does it take to design and launch a size inclusive design. So I had another design. It's around the Cathy cardigan is around, and it's back on my needles, and I've been working on the first sleeve, so it's back, but I've done like an inch, so I thought I'll wait till next episode and hopefully I'll have done a bit more and I can talk about it more then. But this was like my second idea and it just flew. I loved it so much. It was so much fun to knit, and I just knew when I was knitting this up, like this will be the first design. And then I tried to grade it and it was an absolute nightmare, but we got there in the end, and I did a call for testers. So the firstly, I'll talk about the sweater and then I can talk about the tests and things. So this is the design. It is a top-down raglan. It is knit in this all-over dip stitch design. I've actually seen a lot of this popping up recently, which I feel like it's, you know, when you learn a new word and then you see that word everywhere. I think that's it. Like I think I just didn't know the stitch pattern before and now I'm seeing it everywhere. But maybe also people are knitting with it now, I'm not sure. I don't know. So yeah, it's a dip stitch, or I've seen it called a heart rib or a dip stitch. And it's got this like super simple clean raglan, and it's like a symmetrical raglan, so the pattern increases on both sides of the raglan increases. And then there's a straight sleeve with a nice, oh sorry, my stitch marker's in, a nice little, and I've not woven in my hands, with this little like bubble cuff. I love these cuffs, I think they're super cute. They're bracelet length sleeves. I think that's it. Oh, it's got a folded neckband as well. It's 19 stitches per 10 centimeters gauge, and I knit mine with a strand of Ficolana Anina and drops Kidsilk Mohair. And you can see like up here, you can see the halo really clearly where it's like against the dark. You can see the halo of the mohair, but otherwise it's quite an even, like my mohair colour and my base colour are very similar. So yeah, it's mostly, oh look at that halo in the sun. There's not much, like the mohair is really just there for the fabric in this case. So I did a call for testers in the last episode, which was 2 weeks ago. I can't believe that was 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago, and the response was overwhelming. I mean, it was amazing. I was so excited by it. It was the same weekend that there was a Knitty wedding, which I'll get to later, and that I hit 10k, and it was this weekend of like, wow. And also I wouldn't, like that whole weekend would not have happened in the way it had I not been part of the knitting community, and that just felt really exciting. So I did a call for testers, and there were just shy of 350 applicants, which is obscene. And then I was left with like complete champagne problems, which was picking testers. For the two most popular sizes, which is the third size and the fourth size, there were more than 120 applicants for each size. And like, how do you pick? Like there's no real way to pick when that happens. So I wanted to make sure that I had a wide variety of, like I wanted some people there who had previous test experience, because obviously it's my first time running a test, and so I wanted to have some more experience in the room. I wanted to have a variety of different yarns. So I did mine with mohair, but I know that not everyone loves mohair, and so I wanted to make sure I had some people picked who were going to knit it without mohair. And then there were some people who, like, I talk to every day on Instagram, or like I have two people at my test group who are at my knit night on Monday. Like, I see them every Monday, so of course you can test for me, because then, like, I trust you. I know where you live, not really, but you can't drop out if I see you every week. So yeah, it was really hard to pick. And I still, for those two sizes, I think I still have like 5 testers per size, which is way too many, but I just couldn't decide. But what I mean, it was amazing, is there's a tester for every size. The pattern comes in 11 sizes between, I think it's finished bust measurements of like 76 to 171 centimetres, which is quite a big range. So there's a tester for every size. It's a really wide range of ages. Like, there's someone in high school, and there's someone who's there's like someone who has grandkids. So like, we're covering a scale of ages. It's super international. Some in Europe, some in North America, some in Asia. Like, it's everywhere, which is cool, because it means that there's an Instagram group and it's constant, which I think some people would find annoying, but I love it. Because I wake up every morning and like somebody who's been knitting in the evening in North America is already at it, or like they're getting some feedback from someone in Asia who's already awake in the morning and they're giving some help. Yeah, it's really cool. So that's amazing. So I sent out the test. So I told everybody about it on the Sunday, I think, and I sent an email to everyone. A couple of emails bounced back. So if you're like, I applied and didn't get an email, then you must have put your email on the form wrong, or there's something bouncing with your email, because I did get maybe like 5 emails bounced back to me. But I've decided, and this was a tip from Sophie of the Knit Pro Girl, is that when I launch the pattern, I'll send a little discount code to everyone who'd applied to test, because I'm really grateful that people applied, and it's a big, like, offering to test for somebody is a big commitment. And so I'll be sending a little email to everyone who applied to TestKnit with a little thank you for applying, and here's a little discount code on the pattern if you would like to buy the pattern. And what else? Yeah, so I sent everyone, sorry, I'm really going into the test details here. I don't know if anyone wants to know this, but I'm telling you anyway. I sent everyone the pattern and it started, and what I did want to mention is a couple of cool things about some of the testers. So I've got a couple of pictures to show. There's I pop a couple on screen as I'm talking about the colour choices. There's one that there's not, like, I've seen a picture in the Instagram group, but I've not seen a picture on like grid, that's the word, of like a dark grey, and it's a dark grey with a grey mohair, and it looks amazing. It looks like, it's like burnished, like it looks like metal. It's so cool. There are quite a lot of like really beautiful pastel coloured ones. There's a really stunning like dark rose, burgundy, burgundy purple colour. There's an amazing version in pink with orange mohair, and I would never have thought to put them together. Like, I would never see orange mohair and be like, I'm buying orange mohair. It looks so good. It's like tutti frutti, but not, I don't think it looks garish. I think it looks so clean. It's beautiful. And then I have to mention this version, because I've been very blessed, and I have Cami, who is the prolific knitter on Instagram, who test knits for like everyone. She does amazing test knits and she makes incredible choices. But she's test knitting for me, which I'm very honoured by, and she sent me a message and said, do you mind if I do an I-cord edging for the neckband? And I was like, yeah, do what you want. Like, I'm very open to test it. Somebody else asked if they could do a turtleneck, and I was like, sure. Like, I don't really mind. I feel like knitters will hack a pattern, so if testers can do it, then it just opens up the door to like possibilities. And I've seen her hacked before. She made a short-sleeved version of the Great Gingham Raglan and steeked it, and it's like a Chanel coat. It's like a Chanel blazer. It looks amazing. So I had full confidence in her, and it's stunning. I'll put a picture of what it looks like. She's done an I-cord edging on the neck and an I-cord cuff on the sleeve, and I just think it looks like evening wear. It looks, I mean, the gold, she's done it in this gold colour, so it looks amazing as well. But I'm just mind blown, and I sent this to everyone. Like I sent a picture to my mum, I kept showing my boyfriend, and I was like, look how good this is, and he was like, it's a sweater. And I was like, but look how good it is. Yeah, it's a really nice sweater. So I'm sharing it here so that somebody else can appreciate how good this looks. But it's absolutely amazing. I'm so excited with the testers. The good news is that all the maths made sense. I did have a slight panic when we realised in the first 24 hours, I realised that our row count was off, and I thought the whole pattern was wrong. I was like, oh no, I made a mess. But actually, I'd said it was X rows and it should have been Y rows, but the end number was the same. It was just done in fewer rows, and that was a 5-minute fix to the pattern. So yeah, it's all going to plan. The only difficulty that anyone is really having is in the short rows, and I think it's just not the tradition. Like, it's a traditional way of doing short rows, but it's not a very common way of doing short rows, and so some people are a bit stuck. But it's a real click moment. Like, either everyone just they go and they get it, or they're like, I don't understand, but they follow the pattern and they say it made sense and now I get why it worked, or they just need like oh, X means Y, and they're like, oh yeah, of course, and then they go ahead and do it. So no one's been blocked by it, but I am wondering if I should do a bit more support and maybe make a video of how to do that neckline, like the short rows, because it's the only part of the pattern which is difficult. Everything else is just like knitting pattern. So I'm so glad mine's finished. It's so warm here in Scotland, so I'm not been able to wear it at all. I was maybe going to a yarn festival this weekend, but I'm not going to go because I need to sort my life out and organise all my knitting. It's all over the floor. But part of me wants to go just because I thought, well, I could wear my new sweater. But no doubt, I have 2 more festivals. I'm going to the Perth Festival of Yarn and Glasgow School of Yarn in the next couple of months, and I will wear this probably to both. Because I'm going to show it to everyone that I can. So that is it for this. I think I talked way longer about that than I planned to. Something about this in acquisitions, but I'll get to that at the end. But yeah, my Cargill finish is done. My Cargill sweater is finished, and the due release date, if everything goes to plan, and I don't foresee the fact that the testers have gotten through the yoke and one person's done the sleeve, that's Cami, makes me think that there's not any big issues. Like, I'm not expecting any huge issues, and I'm comfortable with a pattern release date of the 30th of September. So it's like less than 2 months. I should start writing up the final pattern. Okay, so those are my finished objects. Let me get into my WIPs. I have 4 works in progress. I should add, I have significantly more works in progress, but these are my active ones. I used to be really good at not really having languishing WIPs, and I don't know what's happened this summer. Like, this summer I just can't stay on top of them, and I have a lot of languishing WIPs. I've got 3 other, like, just over there that I've not touched in 2 weeks, 3 more WIPs. And I've got 3 more, like, in, like, cold storage. Oh well, it's fine. Okay, what was on my needles last time? Okay, disclaimer, I have 2 more designs on my needles. It has been like a floodgate opening. I was thinking about why this is the case, and I think that now I've just got the confidence that if I have an idea, I can make it. And so every idea I have, I'm like, I could make that. So then I cast it on. So I'll start with the design and then I'll go into another, I won't put them all at once. So first of all, this is my new bag from PetiteKnit. I love it. I absolutely love it. It was expensive. It was £46, which for a project bag that is made out of cotton, like, I think that can be, I've seen a lot of like really stunning like corduroy ones and things which are that expensive, and part of me is like, well, if it's I don't know if it's got a bit of leather or some canvas, I get it. But this is stunning. Firstly, it's huge. It doesn't look, I mean, it looks pretty big opened up. I feel like when it's closed, it doesn't look all that big. Like, it looks quite dinky. But actually, this has like a whole sweater in it and room to spare. It has pockets. I'm not going to show you all, but it has pockets all the way around on the inside. Which have been really helpful, of like different sizes. And I love it. And I would buy another in a heartbeat if it came out with a new pattern. Like, if I feel that's an accurate sign of how much I like it. Like if another one was released, I would buy another one. So that's got to be a good sign. This is home to my Webster sweater. Webster sweater is my second design. I think this will be the next one I'll finish up and get out. My other one is a bit further behind. And this was with the Cargill. I'd seen the stitch pattern and I wanted to make a sweater out of the stitch pattern. And with this one, I had a mental picture of the sweater I want, and I went looking for a stitch pattern. So I finished the whole body. Let me hold it up. Ta-da! Oh, I think it looks so cool. So this stitch pattern, I keep doing this. I keep picking stitches that I don't know the name of. So it's a combination of knit purl and slip stitches, which gives it like, it's not just, somebody commented on Instagram and told me it was a flea stitch, but the flea stitch is just 1x1 colour work. This is not that. Like, it has a bit more texture to it. The black and white, or like this is actually grey and white, is the mental picture of the sweater that I wanted. But I do think it's, which I'm glad for my sample, but I don't think it's showing off the stitch pattern very well. But as I have got all these amazing testers picking great colour choices for the Cargill, I just keep thinking, like, imagine the cool colours that somebody could come up with to make this in. Which will lead me on to something else in a second. But yeah, so I've done the body. It's quite boxy, so this is also ribbing, so it will block out. So I think it's about 120 centimetres, which will give me about 15 centimetres positive ease, which is quite a lot, but we're here for it. And so I had actually knit, so I actually had already split for sleeves, and I started knitting up the back. But the way this stitch pattern works is that you knit every row, or like you work every row twice. And actually it doesn't really slow you down, because it's still like every stitch still counts as like, it's still 2 rows. So like a black, it's not like in Half Fisherman's Rib where like 2 rounds equals 1 row. With this, like 2 rounds equals 2 rows, but it's for me it's 1 in black, 1 in white, 1 in black, 1 in white, like the whole way. And what I'm struggling a bit with is making my edges clean when I work flat. So I started, but I didn't like, they weren't clean enough for me. So I ripped it back out this morning, and I will start again. Oh, unravelled. I will start again, probably today, maybe tomorrow at some point. I'm going to do some swatching first. And see if I can work out a way to make this stitch pattern nice and clean at the edges, so that I can, like, what I'll do is it'll be a drop shoulder, so it's going to come up here, and then you'll pick up for the sleeves, and then you'll pick up for the neckband. And I have an idea for the neckbands, but I've not even swatched for it yet because I'm worried it's really not going to work. But we're going to see where I get to and see if it works. So yeah, it's the Webster sweater. This stitch pattern is an absolute joy to knit. I don't know what it is about it. I think this is what I really, really enjoy in knitting, is I really enjoy when there's something happening. So I love plain stockinette, don't get me wrong, I like it. What I find really meditative and enjoyable is some things happening, but it's memorable and you can repeat it easily. So it's the same with the Cargill, it's a 4-stitch repeat, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and like you can always look at your knitting, you know what you are, you're not on a chart, but you're not just knitting. And this is the same, like it's again a 4-row repeat, and I'm like, oh, I get to knit a white row, oh, I get to knit a black row, oh, I get to knit a white row, and it's really kept it going. And so yeah, I think when I recorded last time, I was like here. So I've knit a lot in 2 weeks, and I don't really feel like I've been giving this time. I think I just picked this up for a row here and there, and this is what's happened. So I'm using Holst Supersoft Health Double because I had quite a lot in stash, and I'm using Oxford, which is this dark grey, and Ecru, which is this white. So yeah, and I really like it. I'm looking forward to getting myself over the hump of how to work this out flat, because I want to keep going with this, but I'm feeling it's like a mental blocker right now. And what I have decided to do is I'm going to make up a couple of, I'm going to do alongside this some accessories. So probably like a whole set that includes a hat, a cowl, and a pair of mittens. Because I think this with a variegated yarn would be stunning. I'm just really bad at picking colours. I just don't know how to pick colours. I don't know why I've lost this ability. I'm having a very indecisive week this week and I just can't make up my mind about anything. So I'm hoping to keep my eyes peeled. I have some yarn to make up some samples for a cowl and a hat, and I don't know if I'll have enough for my mittens, but we'll see. And I think with like a neutral and a very like a hand-dyed yarn, it would look amazing. So what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say I'm going to start. Was I going to say that? I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, I just lost it. My mum always says that if you forget what you're going to say, it was a lie. I don't think it was a lie. I think I just forgot. But maybe it was a lie. So yeah, it's the Webster. I just think it's going to be really cool and graphic. Like this with a pair of jeans. I don't wear jeans. Who am I kidding? This with a pair of jeans. Like it's going to be oversized and kind of boxy fitting. I think it's going to look very chic and very cool. But my mind is going with the colour choices. And I'm hoping, as I was going to say, I've got some yarn. Where did I put it? Oh, here. I'll do all my acquisitions at the end. It's all in one bag. Big bag, but one bag. But my plan is to do a bit more, I don't know, I think it would be cool to try and I might just make this like for Christmas for everyone, and everyone's going to get the hat because I love making it so much. But I think with a variegated DK, it will look very, very cool. Yeah. Okay. The next whip was also on Windows last time. It's also got a bit of an update. So this is a test that I'm doing. I'm being a bad tester. Like I've not worked on this since Monday and it's now Friday. Just because again, it's like I need to do the next stage and there's a mental block around the next stage. So this is my Zosia cardigan, which is a pattern by Alex, who is Vert and Rose on Instagram. She does amazing designs. They're all very delicate and soft and very feminine with like lace. And a lot of her samples are in like pastel pinks and things and all those colours. And I saw her teasing this wrap for a long time and I was immediately signed up to test it as soon as it was out. So I don't know where I was last time, but I finished the body since last time. This is the body. So what you do is, it's a lot of knitting. Like let's put this out there. It's a real investment. The test deadline was the 11th of August, and it's been extended to the 18th of August, and I still don't think I'll finish in time. I might get one sleeve done by then, which I think is fine for the test. But yeah, there's a lot of knitting involved, and there are a lot of different techniques. And yeah, I think it's a really rewarding knit because what you're creating is something really special and really interesting. But I would say it's not for the faint-hearted. I did my Belle sweater, which is an all over top down cable knit sweater, and I think this has been more challenging. Like I always thought that was the most challenging thing I'd knit. I think this is more challenging. But I think it'll be very, very wearable. So this is where I'm at with the wrap. So what I had to do is I've cast on the waistband. So you knit the waistband and then you start picking up the waistband and like knitting it along the bottom, and then you continue the waistband and then you pick up for sleeves. And that's where I'm at. So I've started the waistband and it's in here in my other little dinky bag. I took it to Knit Night on Monday, so I just took the small bag of my waistband. And so I've done, gosh, Mohair really needs to block out to look good, doesn't it? I've done up to here. And now what I'm going to do is, this is I think 40 centimeters. The pattern has a very big bow, and Alex said if you don't want a huge bow, you can make that tie shorter. So that's what I've done. I did it 40 centimeters, so it should still tie, but it might not be quite as dramatic. I also had to, my gauge is way off. The pattern is, I'm a very loose knitter, and the pattern is knit on 4.5mm needles, and I'm knitting on a 3.25mm needle. Yeah. But I found with Cargill I did it on 3.5, and I have some testers on 4.5, so that's obviously the norm. It has this beautiful stitch pattern of some twisted stitches and some drop stitches. I had to cast on, like I started the waistband and it was very wide. It was like this up to here. So I asked what the other testers, how big their waistband was, and they said it was 15 centimeters, so I just cast on. Like, I wasn't going to go down in needle size. I'm on 3.25 millimeters. I'm not doing it. So there is in the design, I think this one is repeated again here, and I just took out one of the repeats, but it's perfect size. And so yeah, so my next, that's the thing, I have to go back and read the pattern now to start joining. I guess I'll go here. Oh, this is not going to show up at all. But basically, like, my waistband, what am I doing? My waistband will now join to the bottom of my cardigan, and I'll knit the waistband all along the bottom of it, and then pick up for sleeves, and then it's knitting in the round, and I love knitting in the round. So I should this weekend get started on that waistband, because I'm probably a little bit behind where I was really on it, but I've not looked at it since knit night on Monday. 2 things to comment on. The first one is I messed up, and I'm not working out, and I've already told the test group that I've messed up, so it's fine, I can tell you guys too. It does say in the pattern, and it was, so this is the stitch pattern, this like, it's not quite a ribbing, but it kind of looks a bit like a ribbing. And the pattern does say, there's like a line in the pattern that says like continue as you increase, and I thought, oh, it's really weird that you don't get, like, it's weird that you don't continue the pattern across the increases. You do. I just, yeah. So this bit here should still have the pattern on it, and mine is just plain. And when I first did that, I was so disappointed. I was like, I'm so annoyed. But actually, this is what it'll look like, and I think it looks fine. Like, I don't think it looks odd. Maybe it does. Maybe you think it looks odd, but if you do, don't tell me, because I'm not ripping it out. And this will cross. Yeah. So that was the first thing, and the second thing I've just realised are my swatches. Let me grab them. So there are a couple of things. I don't even know where the green one is. Firstly, I realised mid-episode, last episode, that I have 2 different dye lots of the Mohair. One is like a slightly like creamier white, and one is more of a true white. And it's, to me, quite obvious, and I got really sad about that. Secondly is, I know I don't really think, I'm pretty sure I won't wear a white. Like, I'm not going to wear a white wrap cardigan. Like, I just, it's very, very, it's very feminine, and like, I'm just not really a white fluffy gal. That being said, I do actually have a white fluffy cardigan that I wear. Like, I have a cardigan number 5 in Drops Air and Drops Mohair, and I love it. But yeah, I just think like this would be more wearable in a different colour for me. So I've been trying to find the perfect colour, and I've been struggling. So you will remember last time if you watched, and I don't know where the swatch is, but I dyed my swatch black, and it turned out green. Like, it was a proper like murky dark green. So I've tried 2 more. I got some Rit dye in the colour Bordeaux, which is wine, and it is purple. Is there something in my water? This was actually my first waistband when I realised it was too wide. So yeah, it's just purple. It's a lovely colour, purple actually. It's a real like nice plum colour. But again, like, I don't think I'd get much wear out of this. I think I really want this to be a wearable colour, like something I would put on a lot, and this is not it. I really wanted a rich red colour, and now maybe I'm not going to get that. Maybe I'm going to have to go something else, because I'm just struggling to make it work. Then I ordered some, so this is the red that I tried it in, the Bordeaux, and then I ordered some Dylon, to another designer, in tulip red, and it came out pink. And then I put it in some more of this, and it's come out this kind of colour, like this like raspberry colour. Now it does look a bit red here, but it's really pink. It's a real fuchsia pink. And this is definitely, like, a pink fluffy cardigan is definitely not my thing. So I think that's another reason why I'm not picking it up, is because right now I'm not that excited about the finished object, because I know I can't work out what colour to dye it. I think my next edge is navy. I think navy blue will be the perfect one. I should make a note of that. It's fine, I'll just do it after. And then I should do some dyeing of that. I'm covering my kitchen in dye. My boyfriend is like, is that more dye? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, are you sure? But yeah, this is just too pink, too purple. We're Goldilocksing with our colours at the moment, and hopefully I can land the colour that I like and find my perfectly comfortable bed and perfectly cosy, warm porridge in my dye colours for this, but for now I'm just having a tough time with finding the right colour. And I'm nervous because obviously it's a whole lot of knitting, and if I did a whole lot of knitting and then put it in the dye and this came out, I would be quite sad, because this is not the colour that I want the finished thing to be, and it's been so much knitting that I want to make sure that the final thing is a colour I'll wear. So navy is really a good idea. Navy. Okay. From one fluffy project to another. This is tiny. It's in my Willow Cove bag. Willow Bay. Sorry, Willow Bay. It's so cute. So last weekend, okay, I keep doing this. Like, my stories aren't just like a brief. I could have just said, last weekend I went to a yarn shop. My mum and my stepdad were getting a puppy. The puppy is coming home on the 12th of August. It's a Gordon Setter puppy. We lost our Gordon Setter in December, and he was only 3.5, and it was a real blow to the family. And I think the plan has always been that at some point in the future we'd get another Gordon Setter. And then we went to visit my mum's friend, who happens to be a breeder who had 3 puppies. And I think we all knew, oh, we'll just go see Jane for a couple of days. We'll go see her for a couple of hours, he did. And of course, there's now a puppy coming home, which I'm very excited about. And have fully volunteered us for puppy sitting duties, which start next weekend. All very exciting. But all I have to say, we went there, and it was quite close to Stirling, and Stirling has a newly opened yarn shop called Curie Creative, and Curie is like the Scottish word for like to cozy in. Like, if you wrap up in a blanket, like you're currying in. So that's the concept. And it was really interesting because it was in like a shopping centre, like a mall. I've never seen that with a yarn shop before, and I was a bit sceptical, but actually it's a really lovely space. They also do spinning classes and weaving classes, which I thought was very cool. And I may have come home and mentioned to my boyfriend that they do spinning classes and weaving classes, because I know he was looking for a birthday. My birthday's at the end of the month, and he was like a bit, those hiccups are really harassing me today. He had mentioned a few times that he didn't know what to get me for my birthday, and I was like, oh, they do classes, you know, and he was like, oh that's quite nice. They're also running, there is this weekend, so tomorrow and Sunday, a yarn festival in Stirling, which I'm unfortunately not going to because I'm sorting out my life, but it's run by them as well, and Amy Palco's going, so go see Amy Palco. When we were at this, all this to say, oh my goodness, we went to the yarn shop. They have a lot of drops, a lot of Rowan, and some hand-dyed stuff, and like some weak county yarns. But they had a sample knit up in Mohair, like a Mohair cardigan. And my mum was like, oh, that's lovely. And I was like, oh, is it? She's like, that's really nice. And I was like, yeah, it is really nice. And then she was telling me, like, she had a couple of events that she goes to where it's quite formal, and she does like a couple of like charity, she has like a couple of charity balls a year. She's a glamorous lady. And she doesn't ever have like a wrap or something to wear with it. And she really liked how the mohair felt. She was like, oh, do you think you could make me something that I could wear like a wrap in this fluffy fabric? And I was like, yeah, sure. So then I went on like a real mission to try and find what to make her. I was gonna do like an actual pattern, and I was originally going to do a Dotted Rays by Stephen West, and then Stephen West brought out this new pattern, this Lush Landscapes, and I thought that would be lovely. But if I'm honest, like what I want to knit is garter stitch, and if I'm using a fluffy yarn, then I want it to not have to, like, I want to be able to see what I'm doing, and so I've done something very boring. Excuse me, I'm podcasting here. What was all this noise? Oh, you stopped. They're going to start again in a minute. It's okay. Oh, I saw like a dust, like that little bit of the window. I saw the dust coming over, and that's where I realised that where it is. Anyway, wow, I really cannot stay on topic today. So I cast on 120 stitches, and this is what I have, which I think is actually quite a lot. I only started yesterday. So it's in Drops Alpaca. So I originally bought this yarn to make the wrap cardigan, and then changed my mind because their stitch definition is just non-existent. I mean, it is when you hold it up to the light, you can see the stitches, but I find it's really hard to work, like to see the stitches when I'm working with it. It just meshes together, like it's black and it's fluffy. So I think I'm glad I didn't use this for the wrap. And I was going to get myself a cardigan, but I also have some black mohair, so I'll just use the cardigan to make this, like make a cardigan for myself, and I'm using the alpaca silk to make my mum's wrap. So I cast on 120 stitches, and there's an I-cord. I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell, but there's an I-cord edging here and this side. This side I feel is a bit more obvious, but yeah, you can kind of see it there. So there's an I-cord either edge, and I'm just going to knit until I run out of yarn. I have 9 balls of this, and yeah, it's the Drops alpaca silk, and it's in black. I did 5 centimeters yesterday, and I weighed the yarn, and it was around 10 centimeters. It was around 10 grams. So I basically calculated that I think I can fit in like 112. Okay, I don't know where I got to. I was rudely interrupted. I find it so awkward to try and film with someone else in the room. Like, we have 2 doors closed between me and my boyfriend, and then if I'm like, if he can hear me, that's embarrassing. But he like walked in, and usually he opens the door and he realises, and then he closes the door and just backs off. But he did not realise, he thought I was just on a call. That's fine. Anyway, where did I get to? I cast on 120 stitches, and I realised I can knit this to 112, like I can do that 112 centimetres with it, with the yarn I have, given how much yarn it took me to knit 5 centimetres, which is probably a tiny bit shorter. Like, I think I probably want it more like 130 to wrap around, but it's garter, so I'm just going to block it. So I mean, that is already like 8 centimetres, and that can block it quite well, I think. Or I just order another ball of yarn. It's also fine. So my goal is, I'm going to sound like nitty natty here, I'm going to knit 5 centimetres a day. I never set these goals for myself, but I do feel like this endless amount of black wrap is just, oh, it's for her birthday, which is at the end of September. Well, like 2/3 through September. So yeah, I need to make sure I stay on top of it, because I don't want to be panic knitting this. And it's super enjoyable, and it's plain garter and like a little bit of edging, so it doesn't require much focus. And yesterday I did 8 centimetres, so I put a little stitch marker in. I also never use progress keepers, but I have a couple, so it's a good excuse to use the progress keepers, and it's so soft and so squishy. So I'm thinking, I mean, she might be watching this. If you're watching this, then don't listen to this next part. I'm going to get her a nice shawl pin, and then this, and I thought this with a nice shawl pin would be a really nice, I mean, she knows she's getting the wrap, but I thought that'd be a nice way to do it. So yeah, and it's going to be like pure squish, like pure squishy, really, really light. I mean, it'll be, I mean, even if I use the extra ball, that's what, 10 balls, 250 grams, that's nothing. So yeah, that's new, and I'll probably just be endlessly knitting on it for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I worked out, if I had something like 40 something days until her birthday, which is more than enough to knit 5 centimetres a day. Like, I was in plenty of time, so that's the plan, 5 a day, and we'll see how we get on. Whew. Okay, I suddenly panicked because I thought I had been recording for more than 2 minutes, did my recording break, and then I realised, no, I paused the recording. Okay, there's one more whip, and then I have some back positions, and then we're mostly done. Okay, it's in my big bag, because it's quite a big project. This has been the headache of the week, and this is the primary reason why I've knit on nothing else, because this has been like a thorn in my side. When I say, like, I realised with designing, it means I could just knit anything I want. Yes, but it's actually really hard. It doesn't work out the way you think it will work out. And so there has been a lot of ripping back, and to be honest, I might still rip this back. Like, I've not decided if I realised yesterday that I might have more stitches in my stitch pattern repeat than I want to have, and that I could cut it down by a little bit. But obviously that means that my number of stitches, like set up stitches, are not right either, and so I don't know what I'm going to do. I've decided, I think, that I will knit this for a little bit and then decide what I think. I'm just going to find some stitch holders. Oh, when I ordered my bag, I also ordered some, what are they called? Needle stoppers, which I've never had before, which are so useful. I should have had these by now. Okay, so this is a top-down sweater. It looks tiny. I promise it fits. It's not small, but it really does look small when I hold this up. And it's going to have colour work around here and around the top of the sleeves. I just think it looks so cool, and I'm excited. I really love the colour work I've come up with. It's very graphic, but still, like, it's not, I don't know, I feel like it's something I've not seen very much before, which I really love. And I don't really feel like I see a lot of colour work on drop shoulders, and I don't really ever see it around the waist. And I just keep, again, I've got the picture of the finished garment in my head. Whether it will look like that or not, I do not know. So let me talk about it. It is a drop shoulder construction. So I knit the back first, and then I picked up for the sleeves and knit the front panels. And then I picked up and knit the collar, and like all around is this like chunky 2x2 rib, which I just think looks so good. I really love this, the increases for this, with this little bit here. I think that looks really nice. And now with the colour work, and I've literally done like 6 rows, so you really can't see it at all. You can kind of just see the start of it. So yeah, I did the first row of colour work, and I was like, ah, it felt so good. I have not done colour work in a while, and my last colour work project was a big colour work project, and it felt like a bit of a chore at the end. I was like, oh, I have to finish this, and actually I still have to fix that jumper. But I do enjoy colour work. It does feel really good, in small doses, and so it did feel really good to get going with this. And I was like, this just feels good. Like this rhythm is nice. So yeah, what I'm going to do is hopefully, I don't know, it's quite a big bit of work, it's quite a lot of colour work, like the colour work is quite long. So what I'm going to try and do, I think, is finish the colour work, try it on, and decide what I want to do. I should have put lifelines in, and I might still go back and put some in. I think I can do that with like a needle, because I've ripped this back so many times. That's my lesson this week, is use lifelines. I never use them in knitting, and I didn't use them at all in the Cargill, because all the maths that I had to work out was in the short rows, so I just kept ripping it out, and it was only like a handful of rows, so I could just redo it. But this was chaos. I thought the collar would be the hardest part to work out, but by far the hardest part to work out was the armhole depth. And like I joined it in the round, and the back was way too long, and the front was way too short. And then I did it again, and it was closer, but it was still off. So then I ended up having to knit the front way longer. Like I think I only, yeah, just way longer. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited. And I said I was really indecisive. Oh, I'm going to see if I can find my little stick. A little stick. Okay, so the yarn I'm using is Woolyknit Held Double. I received this from them last year as part of the Cone Along. There's another knit along coming with Woolyknit with Inga from Knitting Traditions. So if you still have cones left, there's a Cal. If you don't have any cones left and you want to buy some more British wool, I'm pretty sure she has a discount code coming. I need to remind myself that I do not need any more cones of yarn, but we'll see what happens. It's a celebration of British wool, so that's really lovely. And their yarn, I just love their yarn. I just love everything they do, and I still have a little bit left for my Cone Along, and I'm like, oh, I don't need any more yarn, but let's just see what happens. So this is their merino wool, and I can see on the tag it says 500 gram merino wool cone in, oh gosh, I don't even know, Mulhacen oatmeal, Mulhacen. So yeah, oatmeal. So it's a kind of like, it's a real, I think the reason I struggled so much with colour pairing for this is because it's not really like a warm beige, but it's also not a really grey. It's real, yeah, oatmeal is a good colour for it, but it's really in the middle. So I knew I wanted a contrast colour, and I just could not decide. I was looking on Holst's website for some colours because they have a really wide colour range, and then I decided on, I thought I wanted to see Scots Pine, and so Amy Palco brought some Scots Pine to knit night on Monday, and I was like, nope, this is not it, and I just couldn't decide. So I ended up with 3 possibles. I've got all the cones here actually because I've just not put them away yet. So the first one was this Holst in the colour Tobacco. The second was Woolyknit in the colour Cinnamon. And the third was Woolyknit in the colour Burgundy. And like I said, like I couldn't decide. I asked Instagram, I asked my mum, I had a full debate with my boyfriend about this, and I made this little stick. Sorry, I've opened the window and then there's construction, so it's really loud, but if I don't open the window, I will melt. So we're gonna roll with it. So I made this little stick, And so this was like, this is the oatmeal and these are the 3 colours. And so what I decided basically is I think the cinnamon is lovely, but it's just not speaking to me, and I really like this red. I just thought it was really different. So that's what I've gone with, the burgundy. So this is them caked up, and I think, yeah, they look really good together. I also have like 10 more colour ideas for this, so we'll see how I get on with this one, and I might make a second. I really want one in grey and navy. I don't know why that colour is like singing to me. I also love the idea, so I'm using, I think the gauge is around 20 stitches per 10 centimetres, which is pretty classic DK weight gauge, and so I just keep thinking I could do the background in a DK, and then I could do the mohair and a strand of fingering and a strand of mohair, a strand of fingering, a strand of mohair, and I still have some navy. It's right here. I mean, this is the joy of not putting anything away, is I can find everything I need if I dig a little bit. I still have some navy Woolyknit Merino from when I made my sweater, and so I just imagine this with a strand of mohair and a grey, like a soft marled grey background. But I suppose I should finish this one first. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully by next time, like the colour motif will be a bit more, and I can really show you what it looks like. But yeah, and I tried this on and this collar fits so nicely. I think it's potentially a little bit too snug, so I think if I write this up I will have an extra repeat in the collar, but we'll see, because my Cargill was quite snug and then I washed and blocked it and the collar really relaxed, and when you add sleeves the weight kind of pulls the collar out, but it looked so good on. I was so impressed, and top down sweaters are really hard to do, like really hard to work out the maths for, so I'm just not even thinking about grading this because it's going to be a nightmare. Cool. Those are my whips. So yeah, 2 new designs on my needles because I cannot be stopped, and a test knit and a gift knit, so pretty even. And like 4 whips that are in that backlog. And by backlog I just mean I'm a product manager who uses words like backlog, and also it's literally just a pile on my floor of stuff I need to sort through. I need to go through and like I have a really nice woven basket, and I think I need to just go through, take out, I have a lot of like single skeins, or like like I've done some swatching and I've tucked it in there, or I finished a project and I got a skein or 2 less, or I've just thrown it in there. I'm gonna go through, put all my single skeins away, and find places for things. Okay, last but not least is some acquisitions. So these were all very purpose driven, like I had a reason. I mean, I always have a reason to buy yarn, but I just have a reason for all of these. So let me go through them quickly. It's all from Wool Warehouse. They still have a sale on. I think they stop having a sale on drops because I just keep wanting to buy it and have no reason to buy it. And I have a lot of yarn right now. So, and I just have a lot of yarn, and I've got 2 festivals this autumn, so I should slow down. So the first thing was some drops Flora. This is mostly wool, yeah, 65% wool, 35% alpaca, it's 210 meters. This would be a really good yarn for the Cargill because it's the same meterage per 50 grams as the Anina that I used. And actually the reason it came to mind is because one of my testers is using this. And I was like, oh, it's a great sub. So I brought this originally because the shawl I was going to make for my mum, I was going to hold a strand of Drops Flora and a strand of Mohair. But I decided it didn't quite give like the fluff that she liked in the one we saw, so I've gone with the silk. But I still have the Drops Mohair because originally for her birthday I was going to make her a ranunculus because she's got one in like a mushroom grey that she likes a lot, and I thought I'd make her, she asked for a black version, but I'll make that for her for Christmas, and she'll get her shawl for, she knows she's getting the shawl for her birthday. But it means that I have some Drops of Flora and some Drops Mohair, and I think I'll make a cardigan. I'm tempted to make the novice cardigan Mohair edition by PetiteKnit, which I've made before, and it was exact, my gauge is so off, it's huge, it's so big. It's a Mohair cardigan, but I'm pretty sure I can get Mohair gauge with a strand of finger and a strand of Mohair. Right now, I just can't quite face the idea of knitting back and forward for that long, like purling that much. And that's ridiculous, like I'm fully aware that's ridiculous. But that's what's stopping me from casting this on. It would be super wearable, I get so much wear out of it. I could knit a cardigan and steek it, Okay, I'm just going to cut out the bits where they're really loud, which is, editing me will hate me for this, but it's fine. So yeah, I could a cardigan and steek it, which I've steeked before and I liked it. But the idea of picking up stitches in black for the button band does seem a bit stressful. I don't know. Anyone got a good recommendation for how to knit a black cardigan without knitting a black cardigan? Would be great. Maybe I should streak it. Mohair is really strong. This is not superwash, so it won't unravel. And I love knitting in the round. I could still do the novice cardigan and I could just steek the novice cardigan, because I'm pretty sure that's got a button band. We'll see. Okay. Second thing I ordered was more drops. It's all drops pretty much, I think. It's drops alpaca, and this is to do the Webster, this one, with some contrast colours. I had such a hard time picking contrast colours. I just could not work it out. My brain, like I said, is just struggling this week with making decisions, and with colours especially. So I was back and forth and asked for some recommendations, and some of them just didn't quite sit. So then I thought, who do I know that does great colour combos? And I thought, I know Sonder Yarn colours are like next level. They're amazing. So I had a look on their Instagram page. I can't get Sonder in the UK. I mean, I could get someone to ship it to me, but I think it would become very expensive. But their colours are so good. And so I had to look at some of their like sock sets to look at what colours they were pairing, and I thought I could look at that, find one I like, and I could knit something in that colour. So I have what I would consider to be an odd colour combo, but I'm going to trust my gut on this one. So this is alpaca in, I don't know what colour it actually is, like rose pink and forest green. I think it's going to be interesting. So a cowl and a hat and a pair of mittens, and we'll see. My go-to is to always do things in neutrals, and yeah, we'll see how it works out. I can always, like, if I decide I don't like these together, I can always split them and put something more normal with each colour and see how we get on. I've got quite a lot of alpaca in rust. Oh, maybe I should do that. The rust is so nice. The rust in this would look amazing. Okay, maybe I'm not using the forest green right now. Oh well, anyway. I'm going to hold them 2 strands together. I think alpaca is so nice for gift knitting. It's so soft. The drops alpaca is just 100% alpaca. And it's got a beautiful drape to it. So yeah, 2 strands together for that. And then the last thing is some yarn, some more drops. And this is drops Merino extra fine. And this is to make a kid's size of the Cargill. So a couple of my testers and messaged and said, do you have any plans to make a junior? Because I want it. Like, I want one for my kid. And I had absolutely no plans to make a junior, but I thought, well, I already have the design. I've done the grading for the size. Like, it shouldn't be too challenging to keep grading. Let's just give it a go. So I've not even looked at the grading for it yet, if I'm honest. But I did order some yarn. I ordered this is DK weight, which I thought was useful because then I will have a sample of my own of the sweater in DK, as opposed to fingering mohair. I also tried to pick a colour, like I think the stitch is quite a delicate stitch, and a lot of the ones I've seen in like pale pinks and pastels look very feminine. So I'm curious to see if like a more general, like a more neutral colour, like I don't want people to look at it and be like, oh, it's just a sweater for little girls. Like, I don't, or maybe they do, I don't know. But I thought it'd be good to do it in a colour that didn't scream fairy princess. And so it's in this like sage green. So I'll be casting that on soon. Once I've done some grade. My plan is to grade it and then to follow my own numbers, just pick one of the sizes. I think I'll probably just pick the size that I have the yarn for. I don't really have any kids around to knit for. So I did ask my cousin if I could send it to her kid, which I might do if it fits them. But honestly, kids grow so fast that if I pick the size that she is now, it might take me 6 months to knit this and then maybe it won't fit anymore. So I don't know how much I ordered, but I've ordered some yarn, quite a lot, like 8 balls or something. 2, 3, 4, yeah, 8 balls maybe. So I'm just gonna grade the pattern, do my yardage estimates, and then knit the pattern to the size that I have the yarn for. So yeah, there will at some point be a test call for that. I think some of my testers for the Cargill have already said they want to test it with kid size. yeah, that should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, okay, I feel like I completely, this always happens, like towards the end of a podcast, I feel like I've just lost my marbles and I'm talking nonsense. I don't know if I've done that today. Let's hope not. A little bit of life chat. What's been going on? The big news is that lovely Caroline of Caroline's Knits got married, and I went to her wedding reception and it was absolutely amazing. I just wanted, like, it just made me think that if I get married, I want to be like Caroline on my wedding day, because she was just having like the best time. Like, she was like nicely tipsy at the end of the night. She had like a bottle of red wine that she was just drinking out of, and I was like, if that red wine goes down her. But she had no cares in the world, right? She was like having the best time of her life, singing her songs. Her playlist was amazing. Like, there was a band and there was a playlist, and the playlist was like the most amazing. Like, it made me relive my emo phase. Like, I was like screaming Panic at the Disco. I woke up the next morning with no voice left because like I was belting Panic at the Disco and like 182, and it was so good. It was amazing. It was such a nice day. She was absolutely beautiful. She looked so good. Got to meet some of her lovely friends, which was really nice, and of course got to meet some amazing knitters. So I'd met Laura Penrose from Penrose Knits before at Unravel last year, and I'd met Sophie from the Knit Pro Girl at Unravel. But obviously we've had like 6 months of chatting since then. And I also got to meet Lizzie of Hive Knits, and they were all so lovely. It was so nice. And we all brought our partners, so there were like the 4 knitting boys who I feel just like had a shared bond because they all have to deal with us talking about knitting all the time. But it was just so nice. It was really nice. We went for pizza on the Saturday night, and Caroline came like the night before her wedding, came along for some pizza. And then we met for the I met them at the wedding reception as well. Everyone was amazing. I put a picture actually because someone took a picture and shared it. I can't remember who, but it was such a good time. And the highlight for me was like in the evening, the band was playing and it was super loud, and Laura and I were just talking about short row shaping, like screaming about short row shaping, and I had like my phone out with like my drawings of how I'd done it, and yeah, that was really fun. So that just felt like peak like knitters meet up, and I really enjoyed it, so that was lovely. And they gave her a really nice wedding gift of some hand-dyed yarn, which I'm sure you'll see at some point, because it was absolutely stunning. It was beautiful and such a cool wedding gift. Some like custom dyed yarn. That was really cool. So that was that weekend. That weekend was crazy. That was when, so the Friday the Cargill test call went out. The Saturday we went for some pizza and I got to meet everyone. The Sunday I went through all the tester applications, and then in the evening I went to the reception, and on the Monday I started the pattern, and on Sunday I also hit 10k. So it was like a whirlwind weekend, and it was so overwhelming and amazing. And then last weekend we went to see the puppies. Oh my god, they're so cute. That was just so nice. And I gave it a picture of the puppies as well, because editing me is going to hate me so much because I keep stopping and starting. I keep saying I'm going to insert pictures. Sorry, Rebecca of the future. And then yeah, this weekend I need to sort out my life, but also my knitting, because it's just chaos. Like, it's just a lot of organza bags filled with like acquisitions, but also like scraps of yarn. So I'm going to go through. My fabric is the same. I use my we've got an office and we share the office, and I never sit in the office for work, but I always get more work done when I sit in there, and I just never sit in there because it keeps getting to the stage of messiness where it's covered in sewing stuff and like knitting stuff. So I'm going to go through, organise, sort through some stuff this weekend, have a good tidy, do some life admin, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. Does that make me a real like adult? Is that a proper adulting? And yeah, that's about it for me. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember what it was. I hope this wasn't too rambly and all over the place. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you're one of the people who's here. If you've not subscribed and you're here and you stuck this long to the end, that means at least you can tolerate me, and then you should subscribe and also like this video. And is that it? I think that's it. yeah, enjoy. Hopefully, that's the thing, if I tidy up everything this weekend, then I'm going to be such like a zen chill knitter, and that means by next episode I'll be finally past my chaoticness and I'll be here with an organised yarn stash and a bit more chilled out. And the giveaway, next episode will be a giveaway. So there, that's what's planned. I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Thank you for listening and watching, and I hope you have some really nice crafting time. Bye!